Welcome to EPP6 Agriculture. I'm Mrs. Mary Jane F. Marsigan, your EPP teacher. Are you ready to learn more and explore yourself in planting? If you're ready, then that's good to hear from you. Don't you know that there's gold in the plant? Well, keep in touch. Before we proceed to our discussion, so let me present you the objective of our lesson. The first one is to propagate trees and fruit-bearing trees using scientific processes. The next one will be identifies the appropriate tools and equipment in planting, in plant propagation and their uses. The last one is demonstrate scientific ways of propagating fruit-bearing trees, observes health and safety measures in propagating fruit-bearing. Okay, so this is what are you going to do. For our pretest, what I know, all you have to do is to answer this following. Direction, right, true if the statement is correct, and false if the statement is wrong. Do it on your activity sheets. This is number 1 to 10. Then, take a look around your house. Have you seen some trees? How do you feel when you take a rest under a shade? So, ano nararamdaman nyo kapag merong puno sa inyong tabing bahay? Nag-e-enjoy ba kayo? Nai-stress? O nare-relax? Okay, do you feel relaxed? Do you think planting trees and fruit-bearing trees are important? Okay, pwede po kayong magsagot. Isulat lang ang inyong sagot sa GC natin. What's in? For our review, can you recall what you have learned about plants? Then, try to recall this. Fill in the blank. The classification of plants refer in the sentences. Select your answer from the choices above. Okay, all you have to do is to answer this also. Now, so let us proceed. This is a four-pick one word. So what do you think is the word in this four-pick one word? Anyone who can guess? Correct. This word is a tree. And that is what we are going to talk about this morning. Planting and propagating trees and fruit-bearing trees. Propagating trees and fruit-bearing trees using scientific processes. When we say plant propagation, this is the process of reproducing or creating a new plants or seedlings. So pag sinabi nating plant propagation, ito yung pagpaparami, proseso ng pagpaparami ng panibagong halaman. It's not only by their seedlings, but also in other parts of the plant. So, plants, it is important part of gardening, whether outdoor or indoor. Plants are living things that grow either through their roots, stem, leaves, fruits, and seeds. So, ibig sabihin, yung halaman natin, maaari din silang lumaki o mapadami sa pamamagitan ng roots, stem, leaves, and fruits. It is a method of growing new plants from seeds from other parts of the existing plants. So, in general, there are two ways of planting trees. So, the first one is what we call the direct seedling. When we say direct seedling, which makes use of seeds. So, ano daw ginagamit? Correct. Seeds ang ginagamit nila. And directly planting them into the plots of garden area. It may take a long for the trees to start bearing fruits. So, this is the problem in direct seedlings kasi buto yung ginagamit nila. So, the problem in this method is it takes very long for the trees to start bearing fruits. They can take up to more than a decade to bear fruits, and quality of the fruits or may not be the same as those from the seeds were taken. So, kapag sa direct seedlings kasi tayo, di ba buto yun? So, antay muna natin silang lumaki. So, katulad ng lansones, katulad ng rambutan, hindi ilang buwan lang ay maha-harvest na agad natin sila, kundi nag-iintay ng mahabang panahon. The next one will be the indirect planting. When we say indirect planting, also called transplanting. In this method, parts of a plant, pre-grown seedlings or plants propagated from the seeds are planted initially in a seedbed or seed box before the transferring it to the permanent flat or garden area once in the it is grown. Ano? When we say indirect planting naman, so ito naman yung hindi agad itinatanim kung kinakailangan munang ipunla. Ano? So that is what we call the indirect planting. Kinakailangan muna natin siyang i-pre-groom. Ano bang halimbawa nito? Magbigay nga kayo ng halimbawa. Correct. So, yung ating mga papaya, talong, at sili. So sila ginagamit natin. Although seeds sila, pero kinakailangan muna natin silang ipunla. So, propagating trees can be sexual or asexual. So, this is different from direct and indirect method of planting. So, when we say sexual propagation, is growing trees through their seeds. So, pag sinabi nating sexual propagation, so, ang ginagamit niya ay seeds. When we say naman asexual propagation, this can be done through its part. So, ibig sabihin, ginagamit nito ay dahon, roots, stem, branch, or something, parts of the plants. So, different types of asexual propagations are marketing, grafting, air layering, budding, cutting, are some examples of asexual reproduction. Propagation rather, sorry. So, for the meantime, mamaya natin iisa-isahin kung ano nga ba yung different types of asexual reproduction. So, appropriate tools and equipments used in plant propagation and beer uses. So, anong-ano nga ba yung mga kagamitan na ginagamit natin? When we say tools and equipment, these play a very important role in the systematic process of plant propagation. Their availability makes the work easier and helps in the proper executions of the different procedures. So, tools and equipment in plant propagation. So, what are those? Pruning shear. So, this is the pruning shear. It is used for cutting small branches, including unnecessary branches, para siyang gunting. Then, the next one will be knife. Yan, kutsilyo. Used for cutting and sliding plants materials. So, minsan kasi, kailangan natin putulin sa cutting, So, yan ang kinakailangan natin, knife. The next one is the sprinkler. Sprinkler used to water seedlings and the young plants. So, minsan, ang sprinkler, ayan, katulad nito, meron ding regadera, ayan. So, at yung ginagamit nating, kung wala naman tayong regadera, pwede rin naman tayo gumamit ng butas-butas, binutas na lata. Next, bolo. When we say bolo, this is used for cutting tall grasses and weeds and chopping branches of trees. Itak. Yan, itak. Then, garden scissors is used for cutting grass and shaping plants or shrubs. So, nakagamit na ba kayo nito? Very good. So, next one is the crow Bar. It is used for digging big holes and for digging out stones and stumps. So, yun yung ginagamit natin, pambunot ng pako. Pero dito, sa propagating plants, pinambubunot natin siya o panghukay natin sa mga bato. Grab hoe is used for breaking hard topsoil and pulverizing soil. O tinatawag nating patik. Ano? So, malaki lang siya. May sharp edge lang siya. When we say water pail, it is used for holding water, manure, and fertilizer. Next, shovel. It is used to remove trash, digging loose soil, moving soil from one place to another. Rake o yung kalaykay. It is used for cleaning ground and leveling the topsoil. So this is the scientific way of propagating fruit-bearing trees. So, scientific ways of propagating fruit and bearing trees. So the first one is what we call cutting. So kung mapapansin nyo, ano kaya to? Correct. Balinghoy o kamoting kahoy. Cutting. So one way to propagate fruit-bearing trees like balinghoy, we use the process of cutting. The leaves are removed and the stems are cut 10 inches long. One half of the cutting is inserted into the soil. Example pa dyan is siniguelas at kamoteng kahoy. So, ganun ang way niya para maparami. Next one is the marcoting or air layering. Induce the stem to develop roots while it is still growing on the mother plant. The steps are as follow. A. Select a healthy branch. Ayan, siselect ka muna. Remove the ring layer or subbark about 2 to 3 inches long or until you reach the bark about 2 to 3 inches long or until you reach the hardwood layer. So, yan. Natanggal na natin. Babalatan natin siya ngayon. Apply sphagnum moss around the cut surface. So, lalagyan natin siya ng pwedeng kusot or pwede rin namang bunot. Ano? Cover secure with a piece of plastic sheet. So, lalagyan na natin siya ngayon ng plastic sheet. Tie both ends to prevent drying of the roots of the rooting medium. Keep it moist. So, tatalian natin siya ngayon yung dalawang dulo. No, para daw hindi siya tawag dito, para mag-moist siya. So, after that, di ba pag nag-moist, ibig sabihin, nagkakaroon ng tubig para siyang nadidilim. Then, cut the major markot just below the ball and sphagnum moss when sufficient roots are developed. So, pag nagkaroon na siya ng mga ugat, maaari na natin siyang putulin. At pag naputol na natin siya, remove the leaves to further induce roots development. Tanggalin natin yung mga dahon-dahon. Then, place the potted in a cool and shady place. So, grafting, a plant propagation method that develops inserting a scion into stock so that they will form an union and grow together. So, how? Step in grafting, preparing the stock. Start at the cut surface of the rootstock and make a vertical slit through the bark and where its scion can be inserted. 2 inches long and space 1 inch apart. Preparing scion. Kapag sinabi nating scion, yung nasa taas, ano pag kinat natin siya, tapos yung stock nasa baba. So, since multiple scions are usually inserted around the cut surface of the rootstock, prepare several scions for each graft. Cut the base of each scion to the 1 1/2 to 2 inches tapered wedge on one side only. So, inserting the scion. Loosen the bark slightly and insert the scion so that the wedge-shaped tape surface of the scion is again and the exposed wood under the flap of bark. Push the scion firmly down into place behind the flap of bark. So, basta i-insert daw natin yung scion. So, insert the scion every 3 to 4 inches around the cut perimeter of the rootstock. The next one will be securing the grafts. The graft. Seal all exposed surface with a grafting wax or grafting paint. Once the scions have begun to grow, leave only the most vigorous one in each stab, prune out all the other. So bark grafts tend to form weak union and therefore usually require staking or support during the first few years. So pag ganun daw, ang ginawa natin, so mga ilang ano pa lang, ilang buwan or ilang taon lang, hindi aabot ng decades, maaari na natin sila ang tawag dito, i-harvest o maaari na silang bumunga. This is what we call the stock. Ito yung may mga ugat and this will be the sayon. So, syempre, yung kukunin nating sayon, yun yung namumunga na bago mo siya i-insert sa stock. So, ito yung kalimitan nating ginagawa sa lansones, ganun din sa rambutan, sa kalamansi, so, ganyan ang ginagawa natin. So, this will be the first one. Hihiwa ka ng gantos ng sa stock. Then, ikakat mo siya ng ganto, ng pa B-shape. Then, i-insert mo siya, tatalian. Then, after that, after several days, so magkakaroon na ulit siya ng ugat. And then, yun. So, patuloy na siyang mamumunga. Budding. So the process of transferring the lateral bud taken from the scion to the stock of the same family, the steps are the following. So all you have to do is to read this one. After that, so these are the steps of the following. So ayan ang kailangan. Isa-summarize ko lang ha. So ang kinakailangan, hahanap ka daw ng bud. Yung bud na nagmula dun sa limbawa, ang kalimitang pinagagamitan po ng body citrus, katulad ng kalamansi, ano? So, hanap ka ng bud, tapos idudugtong mo yung bud na kung saan dapat namumunga na sila. So, tapos i-insert mo lang yung bud, tapos tatalian mo na lang siya ulit, then, saka mo siya tatalian hanggang sa may tumubo na siya. Ano? Ayun po. So, healthy and safety measures in propagating fruit-bearing trees. Always wear the personal protective equipment such as face mask, hand gloves, apron, working clothes, and boots. So, kinakailangan yan para tayo ay hindi nasusugatan para maproteksyonan na tayo sa anumang germs. Always read the instruction before doing the activity. Like for example, you are using the fertilizer, so all you have to do is to read the instruction first para hindi ka malason or mali ang iyong nagawa. Follow the guide and proper posture while working to avoid straining your back. So, kinakailangan proper posture ka din, hindi yung basta ka na lang nakaupo pag nagtatanim or whatever. Check the working conditions of tool before using them. So, titingnan mo muna, okay pa ba yung kutsilyo mo, okay pa ba yung itak mo, or yung mga tools mo. Never leave your work unattended, especially when ingredients are about to mix. So, wag mong iiwanan basta-basta, baka may maghalong kung sino. So, measures all ingredients properly and follow the correct procedures. Do not deviate from the instruction provided. Always focus on the work at hand, avoid distractions. Avoid exposure to pesticide. Maintain a clean working place which is free from any disturbances. Never forget to clean thoroughly and to take a bath. Take a bath for after